the issue of the vent patients that we have been dealing with, and as you mentioned, the 1.4 million. Specifically for that, the 1.4 million is a grant, and if I understand correctly, that grant is going to facilities to assist in lease ventilators that they're using the money for. That leased money, or money for those that are leased, to help folks that need the equipment, obviously, to serve this population. But my understanding, and it's an issue that's in my district specifically, that I have one of these centers and everything, they own all of theirs. And my understanding is the $1.4 million, zero of that would go to anybody who owns their own equipment. So can you tell me how many of the homes would exactly benefit from this grant program, since the ones in my district will receive none of these dollars?
I'll invite Deputy Secretary Hancock up.
Deputy Secretary, again.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Hancock, and I'm the Deputy Secretary for the Office of Long-Term Living and the nursing facilities that provide services for the vent-trach population fall under the jurisdiction of the Office of Long-Term Living. So the grant program is for equipment support, and it will be available for the Peer Group 13 facilities if indeed they do rent that type of equipment.
But most of them own them, so I'm trying to figure out how many will exactly benefit from this grant program.
So I don't know the exact number of facilities that will be benefiting from it, and we'll certainly get that number back to you. But it will be benefiting facilities across the state. Where we're challenged with Peer Group 13 facilities, at least geographically, is that they're largely concentrated in central, actually in the Harrisburg or the central Pennsylvania area and the southeast. Where this particular program is going to be providing the most benefit would be across the state, where a lot of the supports are provided in units where nursing facilities may be providing other types of diversified care for other types of...
And I recognize that, but the ones that are in danger right now are not the diversified care. They're the ones that are dealing with, like a Fox subacute, which is in my district. They have 4 centers. They have 200 beds of the 700 beds. If they close down, how is it, because the grant money is going to provide equipment, and that's fine, and everything else. Obviously, we need the equipment to serve the patients. But the ones that are having trouble right now already own their equipment, because this is all that they do. Subacute, I know for a fact, owns all of their equipment. This grant and $1.4 million does nothing for them. Their issue is the reimbursement, and that has not been addressed. And the problem is that we've talked about the additional $900 million of overspending, and we haven't addressed an issue that's been out there for a long time. This is not a new issue. So my question directly is the fact of, if we don't deal with a $400 per day per bed problem with the vent care, and they have to shut down, which has been out there and floating, and we have worked some solutions to kind of band-aid the issue, and I appreciate those steps in those directions, because we've needed that at that time. But this is not an issue going away, and there are 700 beds plus some additional beds that are not being addressed, and they're not being reimbursed appropriately because of the contracts that were signed and negotiated and the level of which they're being reimbursed. We need to have a better understanding of what's going to happen when these situations or these nursing homes close and they go back to hospital care at 4 times the cost.
And we continue to have conversations and do everything we can. I think if you look at the actions that OLTL has taken, we've constantly tried to do everything we can to address this. I think as we've talked about today, we've had a lot of questions about how much our budget is growing and the number of people that we're seeing who are eligible for our programs. And I think the difficulty is...
And I agree with you, but the problem is that this is a known community. We know how many are in this community. We know how many haven't been reimbursed appropriately for their care. And it's just getting bigger. I mean, and you can say it's going to grow, and that's fine, but we haven't taken care of the ones we have. So how is it that we're going to propose a budget and we're not going to address this looming issue of those that we know? Whether we grow or not, that's even worse if we grow. But we're not taking care of the ones we have. How is that we can propose a budget and not deal with an issue that we have in front of us?
I mean, these are the challenges we have with our budget, right? I mean, I think if you look at a lot of the stakeholders in the room, they would tell you that they need a rate increase, and they would talk about all the needs we have across a lot of our programs.
Right.
And the challenge is We focus on trying to serve the people eligible.
And
but
I understand that, and I
appreciate all of
apologize
it.
because I'm just going to run it. But we're not. But in this population, what is the plan if these nursing homes close and they go back to the hospitals? How are we going to pay 4 times the cost for hospital care versus the specific care that these 4? Because we have the Fox has 4 facilities: Transitions, Tulip, and Aristocare. And you approved Tulip, which was a brand new facility within the last year, and we can't even take care of the ones we've got, and you approved a new one. So that's a whole other issue. But we need these beds taken care of and this reimbursement addressed, and a budget being put forward that has 0 answers is frustrating.
I appreciate that.
But no answer. Okay, thank you.